Hey, welcome back, everybody. Let's try another live stream. As I mentioned before, right now I'm not at my hometown, but I still try and do this live stream this time about the NIO Q2 2022 conference call, where I hope we get a little bit more detail from the management team. Let me know in the comments, is everything working with the stream? Is the audio all right? Everyone who's watching this after it's being live streamed, welcome as well. You're watching a recording. There might be some occasional hiccups here with the internet. Sorry, in those southern European countries, sometimes they rely on Wi-Fi just for the internet instead of like mobile internet instead of a landline. So that's making it a little bit more difficult. In the background, you see the earnings call, which is open, should start in 3 minutes. And as usual, there's lots of bits where they are talking Chinese. In these parts, I'm trying to give you my commentary around what they have said. And then the English course is always good for you also to listen to it firsthand. And if you haven't watched through the Q2 numbers yet, you can also look it up on my channel. Just go and see the last video. I've been doing a more detailed walkthrough through the financials. I think we'll be hearing some of that again here during the earnings call, and hopefully, that's the valuable part. We hear from Li Bin directly, from the CFO directly, how they're explaining, for example, margins coming down. I mean, I gave some explanations, but maybe there's more to it. Usually they don't put everything into the written report. And then we also have the analyst questions. So I hope that will work out. And they have some good questions there. Maybe grilling the management, asking them the tough questions. Certainly it's been a tough quarter. I guess we knew that all before going into the quarter, with the lockdowns and everything. And of course, you've seen that NIO sales have been plateauing a little bit. But with the guidance which they gave also in this report, Q3 outlook, looking good, I would say. Hopefully even more so in Q4. So fingers crossed, the worst is behind us. We'll see at some point in time, the markets will see it also the same way. Let's see, 1 more minute. Once again, a reminder, there might be hiccups during the stream. I apologize for that. Other than that, we'll be listening to the earnings call together. I will give you my on-the-fly reactions and commentary around it. If I see and hear something significant, also feel free to post comments in the comment section. Maybe I can if I find time slots, I will immediately reply to them, or otherwise I will, of course, after the earnings call is finished, I will certainly answer them as well. So in the background, I'm listening to it. There is still the music playing from the earnings call. And now it's starting. Let me ramp up the audio of the earnings call, and you guys, please let me know if you're hearing it.
Conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Please note today's conference call is being recorded. There will be a presentation followed by a question-and-answer session. If you wish to ask a question, you will need to press the star key followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. I would now like to hand the conference over to Miss Eve Tong from Capital Markets. Please go ahead, Eve.
Are you hearing the conference call in the background? Just give me
Good morning and good evening, everyone.
Here.
Welcome to NIO's second quarter 2022 earnings conference call. The company's financial and operating results were published
Thank you, Melanie.
press release earlier today and are posted at the company's IR website. On today's call, we have Mr. William Li, Founder, Chairman of the Board, and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Stephen Feng, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Stanley Chu, Senior VP of Finance, and Ms. Jade Wei, VP of Capital Markets.
My pleasure.
Before we continue, please be kindly reminded that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's actual results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding risks and uncertainties is included in certain filings of the company with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the Stock Exchange of Hong Kong Limited, and the Singapore
Okay, this is all of the
Exchange.
legal stuff which they have to go through right now. Always annoying, and the last earnings calls all have been quite lengthy, to be honest. Nowadays they're doing them pre-market, whereas in the past it was in the middle of the night. So for me, that's good actually. And it's also hopefully shortening the length of those earnings calls, because I guess they have to finish before the market opens. Keith is asking how many shares everyone's having. So who's in the more than 10,000 K club here? 10,000 shares, 10K. Okay, Li Bin starting to talk. It's all Chinese still.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining NIO's Q2 2022 earnings call.
2022年第二季度，蔚来共计交付了25059辆高端智能电动汽车，同比增长14.4%。7月和8月，蔚来分别交付了10052辆和10677辆新车，同比增长26.7%和81.6%。在此期间，公司的整车生产和交付受到了来自于疫情、极端天气、供应链等多方面的挑战。
So the very beginning is always a bit slow going. It's a prepared remarks that Li Bin is currently reading in Chinese.
Total of 25,059 vehicles in Q2 2022, representing a 14.4% increase year over year. In July and August 2022, NIO delivered 10,052 and 10,677 vehicles respectively, marking increases of 26.7% and 81.6% year over year. During this period, the company's vehicle production and delivery were faced with challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic, extreme weather conditions, and supply chain uncertainties. We will work closely with our supply chain partners to further accelerate the production and delivery of our vehicles.
So this is what we already knew, like the challenges that NIO's been facing. Of course, the supply chain issues, COVID, lockdowns. It's really getting tired. I'm getting really tired about talking about them even. So whoever is sick about those things, like those disruptions, please hit the like button, smash it, and hope those things go away. I really can't hear them anymore. Looking forward when all of this mess is over and also NIO is free from those issues.
Benefiting from the continued demand growth for premium electric vehicles and NIO's outstanding product and service competitiveness, we believe the vehicle deliveries will witness robust growth in the second half of 2022, with the delivery and production ramp-up of ET7, ES7, and ET5 based on the NT2 platform, and the upgraded 2022 ES8, ES6, and EC6. We expect the total delivery in the third quarter of 2022 to be between 31,000 to 33,000 units.
So this is the guidance and the outlook, which I frankly think is good looking. It's implying that we might see up to 12,000 deliveries in September. And usually NIO is already quite accurate at those things and usually even beating the upper line of the guidance. Of course, they're also guiding, there could be a lower estimate, but I think it's rather on the upper side.
In Q2, the vehicle gross margin reached 16.7%, contributed by the deliveries of ET7 with high specifications, part of the orders with adjusted prices, and refined management of the sales policies.
接下来，我跟大家交流一下公司研发和运营方面的一些重点工作。
Next, I would like to share some recent key highlights of our R&D and operations.
作为未来 NT2 平台的第一款产品 ，EB7 上市后，凭借其行业领先的软硬件平台与智能化体验，在中大型高端轿车市场展现出了极强的产品竞争力。
As NIO's first product based on the NT2 platform, the ET7 has demonstrated strong product competitiveness in the mid-large premium sedan segment, with its industry-leading software and hardware platforms and the smart digital experience.
6月15日，蔚来发布了 NT2 平台的首款大五座 SUV ES7。ES7 传承蔚来高性能基因，拥有极致的操控与安全表现，打造超越期待的舒适感和智能体验。此外 ，ES7 还可选装隐藏式电动脱钩、拖挂房车上路，提供全新户外体验。ES7 在8月份用户试驾开启后，得到了很好的市场反馈，已经于8月28日开启批量交付。
On June 15, NIO launched the ES7 over mid-large 5-seater SUV based on the NT2 platform. Inheriting NIO's high-performance DNA, the ES7 boasts ultimate driving, handling, and safety performance, creating comfort and intelligent experiences beyond expectations. In addition, ES7 offers an electric tow bar as an option, enabling a new outdoor experience with a towed touring caravan. Since the start of the user test drive in August, the ES7 has been well received in the market and kicked off deliveries at scale starting from August 28.
我们也发布了搭载智能系。
Remke, your question here regarding the double shift. I think that's what I'm talking about in the last videos, that they're ramping so many models on just 2 lines in the old factory. That's why they need to kind of shift between
2022 ES8, ES6, and EC6, fitted with the new digital system ALDA, with comprehensively enhanced perception units and computing power. The 3 products offer richer digital cockpit experience and have strengthened their competitiveness in the market.
NT2 平台的中型智能电动轿跑 ET5 的量产工作也在全力推进中。ET5 的性能与配置相较发布时得到了进一步的优化与增强。ET5 拥有纯粹且极具未来感的设计，极致的性能与出色的智能化体验，综合竞争力远超同级别车型。我们有信心 ET5 在中型高端轿车市场将成为最受欢迎的车型之一。ET5 将于9月9日正式开始锁单，首批车型将在9月30日交付用户。
The mass production preparation of the ET5, a mid-sized smart electric sedan based on NT2, is also in full swing, while its performance and configurations have been further optimized and enhanced compared with those at the time of the product launch. With pure and progressive design, ultimate performance, and outstanding intelligent experience, the comprehensive competitiveness of the ET5 far surpasses the peers in the same segment. We're confident that the ET5 will become one of the most popular mid-sized premium sedans, The production order confirmation of ET5 will start from September 9, and the first batch will be delivered to users on September 30.
Okay, so similar to the ES7 launch, they will have only a couple of deliveries of the new model, the ET5, by the end of the month. But that's a very exciting model. So hope to see lots of ramping for the ET5 towards Q4 and then next year. People here are talking about profitability. Yeah, maybe one quarter next year. And then for the full year, hopefully 2024. Maybe 2025. And that's really what investors should be looking forward to. Model 3 did this for Tesla.
We released the Banyan 1.1.0 based on NT2 in August with over 60 new features and optimizations. In terms of the digital cockpit and the driving experience, this update has introduced more modes under the parking scenario, diversified the audio and the video experience in the cabin, and further optimized the suspension comfort and the vehicle handling. In the aspect of the advanced driver assistance system, we have further upgraded the environment simulation display and automatic emergency braking, which has enhanced the interaction experience and the driving safety for the users.
生产方面
I mean, there's still a lot of work to do for NIO for the NT 2.0 platform, which I just mentioned. They did some updates, but remember Q4 only they will start and do those NAD subscription rollouts. Software is not finished yet.
The first batch of the ET5 pre-production vehicles off the production lines at NIO's Factory 2 at NIO Park, and we plan to start the mass production this month.
销售和服务网络方面，我们现有395家未来中心和未来空间。
Once again, if you're new to the stream, thanks for tuning in. We are listening to the management call. Li Bin, the CEO of NIO, talking to us, and I put my commentary.
With regards to sales and service network, we now have 395 new houses and new spaces in 149 cities across the globe, and 263 new service centers and delivery centers covering 151 cities in the world.
从换电网络方面，我们已在
This is, of course, where parts of the cost issues are coming from that we're seeing. They're expanding like crazy on infrastructure, near houses, battery swapping, going global. All of this doesn't come for free, unfortunately. And while the volumes are not that high yet to cover the cost, of course, this creates financial reports like today. That's startup investing. You got to go through it. Unfortunately, there is no other way. And we just have to, be really optimistic about the fact that they will ramp as far that they can later on earn enough money to cover these costs, which I think the financial models do show that it will be possible. So that's the business case. But of course, we need to be careful that they're not overspending.
Network. We have built an expressway power swapping network covering 5 vertical and 3 horizontal expressways and 4 metropolitan areas in China. We have installed 1,094 power swap stations, including 285 situated by the expressways, and completed over 12 million battery swaps for our users. At the same time, we have deployed 1,873 power charger stations, including 5,341 power chargers and 5,466 destination chargers, and connected with more than 560,000 third-party chargers, offering over 860,000 times of one-click full power services. NIO is dedicated to putting in place a power system with chargeable, swappable, and upgradable experiences, make the recharging experience better than refilling. To this end, we have been making continuous investments. With a vertical and horizontal network across the country and a hub and a spoke layout in the metropolitan areas, we aim to bring a more convenient and joyful travel experience for our users.
So this is, of course, what makes NIO different from most other EV companies, which are usually not building out infrastructure, let alone legacy automakers like the German OEMs are usually not really investing in their own infrastructure. NIO does it, Tesla does it. Tesla does it differently, of course, just with superchargers. And yeah, I mean, this will cost money, but later on, there are many benefits to be reaped for battery swapping, of course, in a very special way.
Are not only efficient recharging facilities, but also serve as the virtual power plants. During this summer, we responded to power grid peak shaving in different cities, while over 100 stations. In the meantime, up to 60% of the stations are regularly involved in the off-peak charging by increasing the electricity consumption in off-peak hours. To support energy saving and emissions reduction, NIO Power Swap stations will continue to support power grid demand response and off-peak charging in more regions.
I'm really glad you mentioned this already on the earnings call, because battery swap stations are usually only seen like as an investment that's not returning a lot of money. But that's not true.
With the NIO ET7 being shipped to Europe in August, the order placement and user delivery of our new products will take place in Germany, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Norway this year.
8月28日，经过未来用户社区的积极参与，合肥被选为挪威2022的NIO Day 2022的主办城市。NIO Day 2022正式进入筹备执行阶段，期待届时和大家分享我们在产品和核心技术上的最新进展。
On August 28th, Hefei was chosen by our user community as the host city for NIO Day 2022, and the preparations for the event have been officially kicked off. We look forward to sharing with you our latest progress regarding our products and the core technologies at that time.
未来作为智能电动汽车行业的参与者，始终致力于积极践行社会责任，助力全球可持续发展。自创立之初，蔚来一直赞助支持中国大学生电动方程式，并在去年开启支持中国大学生无人驾驶方程式。今年8月，蔚来也正式成为德国大学生方程式的合作伙伴。我们期待通过对赛事的支持，助力全球汽车工业青年人才的培养。8月15日，蔚来还与联合国开发计划署 UNDP 正式达成合作。UNDP 作为 CleanPass 平台的共建方，将与蔚来在自然保护地的环境保护、青年创业者的生态环境保护、商业解决方案等方面开展深度合作。
As a player in the smart electric vehicle industry, NIO has been devoted to practicing corporate social responsibility and supporting global sustainable development. Since the very beginning of our establishment, NIO has been endorsing the Formula Student Electric China, and starting from last year, we began to endorse the Formula Student Autonomous China, FSAC. In August this year, NIO officially became a partner of Formula Student Germany. We would like to contribute to the development of young talents in the global automotive industry by supporting this event. On August 15, NIO officially entered into a partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. As a partner of the Clean Parks platform, the UNDP will conduct in-depth collaborations with NIO in areas such as the environmental protection of protected areas and the natural reserves, and supporting social entrepreneurship to encourage young innovators to explore business solutions to advance biodiversity conservation and ecological protection.
2022年下半年是未来多款新产品交付和爬产的关键时期，这对供应链、制造、质量、交付和服务等多方面都带来了巨大的挑战。我们将与内外部伙伴一起紧密合作，提升体系化效率，加速车辆的量产和交付工作，保障产品质量和服务体验。
The second half of 2022 will be a critical period for the delivery and production ramp-up of multiple new products of NIO, which will present huge pressure on the supply chain, production, delivery, and services. The team will work closely with our partners to improve system efficiency, accelerate the mass production and the delivery of our vehicles, and ensure high-quality product and service experience.
感谢大家的支持。现在 Steven 将为大家介绍2022年第二季度的财务业绩。有请 Steven。
As always, thank you for your support. With that, I will now turn the call over to Steven to provide the financial details for the second quarter. Over to you, Steven.
Details. Our total revenues in the second quarter were 10.3 billion RMB, representing an increase of 21.8% year-over-year and 3.9% quarter-over-quarter. Our total revenues are made of two parts: vehicle sales and other sales. Vehicle sales in the second quarter were 9.6 billion RMB, representing an increase of 21% year-over-year and 3.5% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in vehicle sales year-over-year was mainly attributed to higher deliveries. The increase in vehicle sales quarter-over-quarter was mainly driven by higher average selling price. Other sales in the second quarter were 0.7 billion RMB, representing an increase of 34.6% year-over-year and 8.2% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in other sales year-over-year was mainly attributed to increased revenue derived from auto financing services, sales of service and energy packages, and sales of used car. The increase in other sales quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributed to the increased revenue derived from sales of used car and auto financing services. Gross margin in the second quarter of 2022 was 13.0%, compared with 18.6% in the second quarter of 2021 and 14.6% in the first quarter of 2022. The decrease of gross margin year-over-year was attributed to the decrease of vehicle margin and reduction in other sales margin resulting from expanded investment in power and service network. The decrease of gross margin quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributed to decrease of vehicle margin. More specifically, vehicle margin in the second quarter was 16.7%, compared with 20.3% in the second quarter of 2021 and 18.1% in the first quarter of 2022. The decrease of vehicle margin year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributed to increased battery cost per unit, which was partially offset by favorable changes in sales mix of the ET7. R expenses in the second quarter were 2.1 billion RMB, representing an increase of 143.2% year-over-year and 22% quarter-over-quarter. Increase in R&D expenses year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributed to increased personnel costs research and development functions, as well as the incremental design and development costs for new products and technologies. SG&A expenses in the second quarter were 2.3 billion RMB, representing an increase of 50.4% year-over-year and 13.3% quarter-over-quarter. The increase in SG&A expenses year-over-year was primarily due to the increase in personnel costs and costs related to sales and service network expansion. The increase in SG&A expenses quarter-over-quarter was mainly attributed to increase in personnel costs and increase in marketing and promotion expenses, including expenses related to launch of ES7. Loss from operations in the second quarter was 2.8 billion RMB, representing an increase of 272.8% year-over-year and 30% quarter-over-quarter. Net loss in the second quarter was 2.8 billion RMB, representing an increase of 369.6% year-over-year and 54.7% quarter-over-quarter. Net loss attributable to NIO's ordinary shareholders in the second quarter was 2.7 billion RMB, representing an increase of 316.4% year-over-year and 50.4% quarter-over-quarter. Our balance cash and cash equivalents, restricted cash and short-term investment was 54.4 billion RMB as of June 30th, 2022. Now, this concludes our prepared remarks. I will now turn the call over to the operator to proceed our Q&A session.
Thank you.
Getting to the Q&A quick, that's good. Let's hope for some smart questions by the analysts. And coming back to the battery swapping stations, charging, discharging, arbitrage trading, they're doing a small pilot project right now in China. So this is not some imaginary thing. They're certainly going to do that. And they're actually also hiring for it in Europe as well. So while this might be in the initial stages, stay tuned for that. I think it's going to have some good benefits for battery swapping. So the first analyst is now asking questions. He seems to have a good microphone, luckily. Good point here. Why do these earnings calls sound so bad in 2022? Like, companies don't invest in microphones. That's annoying. NIO spending so much money. Why don't they spend money on good microphones, huh? Let's see what they are asking.
措施避免这样的情况呢发生在下半年的交付，甚至于说明年866的一个大改款。那这是第一个问题。那第二个问题的话，也想请问一下管理层如何看待，就是近日美国对华高端芯片出口的一个禁令明白短期可能对于整车企业的影响不大，但从中长期的一个角度思考的话，未来汽车是否会加速和国产芯片厂在我们接下来的车型进一步深化的合作或者加速未来汽车在自动驾驶芯片4元的一个步调。So I've got two questions. The first one is about the component supply crunch, because the supply bottleneck continuously kept the sales upside of the models like ET7. Should we concerned about any potential hiccup to the productions of models like ES7 and ET5 in upcoming months? And in light of fresh round of the COVID outbreak in China, what has NIO team done so far to hedge the risk of potential disruption to the company's upcoming models? And even for next year's, we are going to have the NT 2.0 upgrade for EFA, ES6, and EC6. So what have we done to avoid this kind of risk to our production? The second question is about the chipset. Just want to learn that what's your take on the restriction to the export of high-end GPU from companies like NVIDIA and AMD to China? While near term, the impact to auto industry should be pretty limited, but would that accelerate NIO's plan of semiconductors, the localization in the upcoming models, or even speed up the in-house development of our own chips for functions like autonomous driving in the future? Thank you.
好的，谢谢 Tim。第一个问题，确实这个3季度的话，7月份、8月份我们确实遭遇了这个一些新的这样的一些疫情反复的影响啊。但进入到9月份的话呢，中国这个多地的一些这个疫情。
Once again, if you're new to the stream, welcome. This is a live stream about NIO's quarterly earnings and management call. I will give my commentary around it occasionally. If you're watching this later on, this is a recording. And right now, Li Bin is talking and answering the question in Chinese. And later on, it will be translated. I guess you guys are happy that they're asking about the NVIDIA chip impact and what it's having on the industry. And he's also asking about the production and supply chain issues, which I can't hear anymore, and COVID lockdowns. But well, that's the thing that's holding NIO down. But let's see. I mean, how can you hedge COVID? It's impossible, right? Let's see what will be the reply by Li Bin.
加上很多的这个技能的这个工作的同事啊，那去帮他们提升这个良率。那现在已经有一些这个显著的一些改善。我们同时也引进了一些新的这样的一些供应链的合作伙伴。我们相信整体上来说的话呢，这个问题应该是已经初步得到解决。那我们认为在10月份应该能够得到比较根本的一个解决。所以综合来看嘛，就是我们对于4季度的交付整体来说我们还是非常有信心的啊。那所以从全年来讲的话，我们对完成这个全年的一个交付目标，我们还是非常有信心的啊。当然也确实意味着我们4季度整个的这个供应链和生产。
Well, pretty extensive reply by Li Bin. Translator will have a lot of work to do.
你先翻译。
Thanks, Tim, for your question. Regarding the first question, in the third quarter, especially in terms of July and August, we have encountered some supply chain hiccups. And we believe the COVID-19 resurgence in some regions in China in September will also affect our supply chain to some extent. But based on our experience accumulated throughout the March and April shutdown experience in Shanghai, we believe that the COVID-19 impact is under control compared with that of the second quarter. Regarding the mega casting components, the yield rate is below our expectation, and this has affected the vehicle deliveries to our users. But we have already taken multiple measures to improve the yield rate of the mega casting components. For example, we have already sent over dozens of engineers to our suppliers to help them to improve the yield rate, and we have already witnessed some improvements. At the same time, we have also introduced some new partners for the mega casting components. We believe we have already resolved this issue to some extent at the preliminary stage, and we understand probably in October we should be able to resolve this issue at once. Of course, we are very confident about our delivery in the fourth quarter, and we are confident to achieve our delivery targets for the whole year. Of course, there will be many challenges ahead of us, but we will try the best to achieve the target and improve our delivery performance in the fourth quarter.
That's something nice to hear. Finally, some good words, optimism. Q4 will be a challenge, and we know what's going on. I don't need to repeat it. Working on some mega casting issues, that's what has affected even the ET7, so the new models, and possibly even 85. But the scale up should be smoother from October. And talking about reaching the full year goal, what does it mean? Maybe between 150,000 to 200,000 in this range would be good. I would like him to hear repeat the 20K monthly delivery for Q4. That would be good to hear.
包括我们的一些云服务商的一些合作，积极评估这个长期的方案。那我们也注意到，中国其实现在也有很多的这种训练芯片的这样的一些公司他们的产品已经都量产。我们当然也会积极的去评估各方面的这个可能的这个技术的解决方案包括和一些更多的芯片公司的这样的一些合作。总体来讲，我们不认为这样的一个近期的变化对公司的长期战略会有实质性的影响。
Now to the chips.
Regarding the US chip ban related with the AI training chipsets, we believe that this will not have an impact on our business operations. Based on our estimations, our computing power is sufficient for our autonomous driving technology development in the aspect of the AI training for now, and we have been working very closely with our partner NVIDIA. At the same time, we have been keep monitoring the situation very closely. We understand there are also many AI training chipset companies in China who are working on the mass production of their chipsets. So we are evaluating different kind of technical solutions for this AI training chipsets, and we would like to work with different companies on this respect. Yeah, basically, we believe this is not going to affect our long-term strategy.
That's really nice to hear it from the management directly. That's exactly how I mentioned it also in the video that I made about the NVIDIA issue. Funnily, they also mentioned like the Chinese companies working on that. There's one company called Biren, which is actually bringing an AI chip to the market, which will be more powerful than the NVIDIA one. And I already mentioned how I personally don't believe in such sanctions. I think that will hurt the US more than China. As NIO just mentioned, they have enough compute power for the AI projects already. That's exactly how I mentioned also in my video. They possibly already have all the NVIDIA chips they need by now.
We are building our core technology and the capabilities, including the chipset. And we believe our target is to build the full stack in-house capabilities in all those key core technologies. We are building our capabilities, and we believe that this is going to help us to mitigate the political risks and the regulatory risks. At the same time, it can also help us to improve our technology powers and also our gross margin as well.
非常感谢威廉补充。
Yeah, ultimately the Chinese will in-house everything, build their own chipsets, make their own AI training computers. I mean, I don't know what's the move here by the US, to be honest. Of course, they try to keep them down, but in the long run, this won't work in my point of view. And as NIO just says here, it's not impacting their business. Now the next analyst asking the question in the background, all in Chinese. Once again, welcome. If you're new to the stream, I'm live streaming the NIO Q2 earnings management call with my commentary on top of it. If you're watching this video later on, you're watching a recording, you cannot comment live anymore. But thanks for everyone tuning in. Let's see what is the next analyst question. Will be translated in a second.
那想了解就是说，因为现在整个行业的这个产品迭代的速度越来越快，然后包括还有新进的玩家，所以说我们怎么看待这个整个行业的竞争？那我们会不会这个更快的加速这个新产品的投放，包括明年的这个产品投放，威廉这边如果可以给一些指引的话，那最好。然后另外就是之前也看到这个媒体有报道，将来公司还有考虑会有第三个品牌。那目前公司有这样的想法？那我翻译一下的问题。
Talking about sub-brand.
What is your latest guidance in the SG&A and the R&D ratio, considering the more industry competition and also overall the slower sales for the industry? Do you have any new target for your point of sales? Second question, your ET5 and the ET7 have very good feedback during the Chengdu Auto Show, but currently there is more competition and product iteration in the industry. Will you speed up the new product launch? And also, could you give some guidance regarding your 2023 new model plan? And can you also share, do you have any plan for the third brand?
Hilarious. I don't know what, I'm speechless. Like this analyst basically asking, can you bring out new models? Do you plan on really launching a sub brand? I mean, like, he can just follow the news. And also, like, NIO is one of the fastest companies to bringing many models to the market, and actually they're being criticized for doing so, actually being too outgoing, making too many models there. And this analyst is kind of asking, oh well, what do you do after ET5 and ET7? It's really, to be honest, not the best question, but let's see what Li Bin replies.
总体上来讲，在我们销售额的比例肯定是会持续下降的啊，这个肯定也是一个基本的一个规律。所以我们不太会因为外部的一个竞争去更改我们自己的一个战略和一个我们的一个节奏。所以总体上来讲
I think Li Bin can be very confident about the competitiveness of the ET5 and ET7 and the ES7. Those new models are really good. Especially the interior is updated with the newer chips, and the software will follow, will get better and better over time. So I'm not understanding the question of this analyst. Really.
Yes, in the industry, we have seen many companies launching good products in the market. But in terms of the investment, we would like to follow our own strategy and cadence. In terms of the R&D, of course, this is our long-term strategy. We would like to make decisive investment on R&D. This year, we have ramped up our R&D investment to improve our long-term competitiveness. And also for the SG&A as a percentage of the revenue, we believe the long-term trend is this is going down, and we don't expect to change our pace or our strategy just because of the competitions in the external environment. We would like to make sure we can focus and determine on our own strategy and pace.
All right, good reply, I would say. I agree with that. I'm glad about this question because, of course, SG&A and R&D has been high this quarter, and of course that's worrying. But NIO mentions we invested right now in R&D. It's important for the long-term strategy, and over the long term, SG&A is also coming down. So yeah, right now it's accelerated a little bit, but that's just the stage where NIO is in. So good to hear another confirmation by NIO that this will go down over time. Let's see what will be his next reply.
产品在明年当然都会切换到这个我们新的这个 NT2 的平台，这个都是我们计划中的事情。所以我们对于明年我们全系产品都切换到 NT2 平台以后，整个的市场的这个表现，我们还是非常有信心的。我们确实不管是在 ET7 还是在 ES7 还是在 ET5 上，我们看到我们在 NT2 的这样一个平台的这个技术的竞争力，我们是看到用户是非常非常的这个欢迎我们这样的一些创新。当然具体的细节，这个我们再有一些时间去跟大家交流。但总体上来讲，我们明年会加快这个新产品投放的这个节奏。
For the ET5, we have already showcased the ET5 in different aspects in the Chengdu Auto Show and other exhibitions and auto shows as well. We have also received a wide range of media coverage for the ET5. ET5 has attracted a lot of attention of the users, the public, and the media, and we have received very good reviews and feedback from the user as well. Next year, we plan to further launch more products based on the NT2 technology platforms, and we plan to upgrade our current ES8, ES6, and ES6 to the new technology platform 2.0, we believe with all of our products rolled over to the new technology platform 2.0, we will be very confident regarding our market performance at that time. Because if we look at the ET7, the ES7, and the ET5, we can see the comprehensive competitiveness of the NT2 technology platform. And we have launched many innovations that have been very much welcomed by our users. Of course, at this moment, I cannot share much details regarding the new product launch, and we would like to say that we are going to accelerate the ramp up of our new products based on the new technology platform.
Exactly. NIO can be very confident about these new NT 2.0 models. All of them are very competitive. I think latest technology, to be honest, I think most of the industry is at least 3 years behind NIO in this regard. And actually, even if you look at Tesla, I mean, they have older models by now. If you look at the compute power of NIOs, and even the design is getting a little bit older now. So I'm not really worried about this part. For NIO, it's more now about how they manage to really scale and go international and bring those products into the market.
Mm-hmm. Regarding the third question, of course, we would like to have more and more users to use our products and enjoy our technologies. But at the same time, we also need to pay attention to the users' needs and demands at different price range, and users of a different brand may have different needs regarding the products and the technologies. So for us, we would like to have more smart EV users to experience our products and enjoy the benefits of those core technologies, and we will make decisive planning regarding this.
Just one interesting detail was also that they even bring all of the models, the current ones, the EC6, ES6, EC6, and ES8 to the new platform. So of course there might be some cannibalization between the models, but still, even each model on the new platform is quite an effort as well. Let's see. New analyst asking a question already.
是否维持这个指引这是第一个问题第二个问题呢，想问一下就是订单，因为我们做了一些终端调研，发现呢 ES7 ET7 都要等3到4个月 ，ET5 就要等到明年了，很多时候。那么按现在销量的话说，那么 ET7 是否就有15000以上的订单 ？S7 也会有15000以上，ET5 会超过50000台。
Here's another experienced Tesla investor. Yeah, I mean, like even after the Model 3 released, stock didn't react immediately. It takes time. Dollar cost averaging is usually a good trading strategy, not trading investment strategy. Over time, building a position, buy low, buy high. And then hopefully when we turn into profitability, it should also really accelerate the stock. And I think the long-term prospects of these companies are very good.
Guidance. Basically, you already previously guide that second half of the year, the volume guidance will be 100,000 units. If you considering your third quarter guidance, that means that in the last quarter, number 4 quarter, your volume will be roughly around 68,000 units. Is that true? Or roughly say in October 20K, in the November 22K, and December 24 to 25K. Is that the right way to think about your volume progress? That's the one question.
This analyst is direct.
About order backlog.
No way will they answer this.
Dealers, they told me that they got 3 to 4 months waiting list for all the new products, say ES7, ET7, and ET5. So can I assume you got 15K order for the ES7, 15K for ET7, and roughly 50K for ET5. So together you got 80K order backlog. That is the right way to think about the order backlog. That's the second question. And last one is about the margin outlook in the number 3 quarter. Basically, the second quarter guidance previously is that will be declined 3 to 4%. Q&Q, but right now the margin could be better than your guidance, right? So what's your outlook for the number 3 quarter? You actually have been raising the price for 2 times, right, for all products. Should the 3rd quarter gross margin return to the level in the 1st quarter this year? Thank you.
好，谢谢王总。
Thank you, Melanie.
第一
Thank
个
you,
问
thank
题， 我
you.
前面其实也讲到了，我们还是会力争完成我们这个年初的一个目标啊。当然，
If you're new to the live stream, please like and share it. Also consider become a patron. This supports this channel. Right now, we're listening to the earnings management call by NIO. Libin is speaking currently in the background in Chinese. I'll add my commentary here and there, and we'll listen to their translation of the question or the answer to this question in a second. And the analyst asked a very direct question about the order book, about deliveries and such. I doubt that NIO will be talking very explicit about it, but nice try.
它的生产弹性也会低很多，相对来说的话，所以总体上来讲，当然可以展望4季度，我们当然毫无疑问，我们会克服困难去有创纪录的这样的一个交付的一个记录啊！我相信，我们每个月都会打破记录啊，这个毫无疑问。
Unlikely they will talk about this. It's kind of industry insider stuff, and yeah, very sensitive topic, I would say.
Thanks, Ding, for the question. Previously, I've also mentioned that we will try our best to meet the delivery target for this year. Of course, this means that the 4th quarter is going to witness a lot of pressure and challenges on our delivery and the supply. We have already started to make the preparations for the delivery starting from the 3rd quarter. We believe starting from the 4th quarter, we're going to have the 2 factories running to make sure we can support the delivery demand. Actually, starting from the 3rd quarter, we have already kicked off the tooling and the preparations for the mass production of the ET5 at large scale in the Factory 2 in the NIO Park. At the beginning, we believe the production capacity of the Factory 2 is relatively lower compared with the Factory 1 because the Factory 2 will only need to manufacture 1 product, that is ET5. So we believe in the 4th quarter, we're going to break records every month, and we are confident to achieve the record-breaking target for the 4th quarter, and we have been making active preparations to meet this target as well.
第二个问题，当然大家也知道，我们这个很早就不去。
Nicely been, pump it. I would be careful about this. This is a new factory scaling up, and many things that are unexpected can happen. Production is not easy, but good to hear him talking like a American, like a US American CEO, like optimistic, pumping it out. You rarely hear this from Chinese companies. Let's hope they can deliver. NIO has not a recent history of doing that, to be honest. So it will be challenging, but if they reach 150K in total this year, I'd be personally happy. Let's see.
总体上来讲的话，需求的话，我们现在还是非常有信心的。
Actually, we haven't disclosed. Yes, regarding the specific order information, we believe we haven't disclosed this information for a long time because different companies have different definitions and understandings regarding the orders. But what I can say now is we have a sufficient order backlog regarding the ES7 and the ET7. Actually, for the ES7, we believe the order performance is actually much better than our expectation. For the ET5, the waiting time is much longer. Recently, we believe the bottleneck or the constraint is not about the demand is mainly about the production capacity of the supply chain. Of course, for our own production capacity, so we believe we have already made sufficient preparations, but the main constraint will be in the supply chain.
Regarding the expectations on pumping out and scaling, we need to always be careful to compare NIO to like some cheap companies producing cheap models.
Gross profit margin of Q3, second half year.
CFO talking.
Sure. The company has taken multiple measures to improve our gross margin profits, and we raised the selling prices of certain vehicle models like ES8, ES6, ET6, and ET7. And most of the positive impact will be reflected in Q3. Most of ES7 starting to be delivered in Q3 are first edition with higher price and margins. So we expect a slight increase of vehicle margin in Q3, but in short term, we are still facing great uncertainty and challenges regarding the battery cost, which will have the negative impact to our gross margin. Thank you, Tim.
All right, we're talking short-term things here, right? And once again, I would lower expectations and say many things can really go bad in terms of scaling new models, factories, battery cost and stuff. And so it's good to hear them positive about margin improvements, about reaching the milestones in terms of deliveries and stuff. I'm happy to hear that, but on the other hand, like I mentioned before the CFO started speaking, we don't want to compare them to a BYD or an XPeng, which are pumping out like cheap melons, or the analogy in Chinese jiaozi, like dumplings, like the cheap stuff that you can sell with a small margin, and you can of course sell a lot of it. But NIO is competing with BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and so it's much harder to build at this quality, and they will get it up and going, but it needs time, and they can also not compromise on quality. It's not easy to get those parts at a rate and at a quality level that is enough for the brand that NIO intends to be. So they need to be careful about that, and there have been issues about the new cars being launched that have initial problems. That's normal, and they can just not afford a scandal about their cars from the beginning. So they need to get these things right, and I think that's explaining a lot.
ET5 production capacity. How many ET5 we can produce in December, and what is the pace on ET5's ramp up from October to December? This is the first question, and the second question is about the overall production ramp up from September to December. So our third quarter guidance implied the September run rate should be accelerated by 15% month on month. So in order to meet our full year's target, the October to December month on month run rate has to be at least a 30% month on month every month. So should we expect a straight line ramp up or accelerating?
Oh gosh, these analysts are horrible. He's asking the same question than the previous one.
Thank you.
好，谢谢 Jeff。这个当然大家都是专家了，这个产能的
Liebing must be annoyed to get these kind of questions, really. I mean, they've just answered it. What are they expecting? That, like, giving them the order book or what? Looking into the future, it's ridiculous.
那我们这个从 EP5 来讲的话，我们认为12月份单月交付过万，从我们来讲，我们各方面的准备工作都是非常充分的啊。那我们内部的目标肯定是比1万这个数字还是要高的，单独到12月份去看的话，那当然这个后面
Yeah, but Q3 I wouldn't be, too bullish on very, very fast big changes. Maybe a tendency, but see how fast it can go. Q4 definitely. This should be when most of the issues should be out of the way already. Should be clear about this.
不管是我们 ET7 还是 ES7 的产能的情况， 这个供应链产能的情况，我们认为也会达到了缓解。那 ET5 的话呢，爬坡这个开始爬坡啊，那所以后边3个月的话呢，肯定是一个月比一个月高的啊。总体上来讲，我们当然很难去预测，因为大家也都非常清楚，现在这个整个的这个各方面的限制因素都非常的多，有很多不属于我们公司能控制的事情。但我想强调的是，过去几年啊，我们确实整个都面临的是这么一个情况，我们也大概清楚在这样一个情况下，我们怎么样去这个去能够去有更多的产出。所以总体来讲，我们对于4季度的产能的情况，特别是供应链产能的情况，我们还是
Who knows? Might be possible.
所以信心度还是有。
Let's see if they ramp up and have no issues with the new factory. This should be possible.
Thank you, Jeff, for your yes. Actually, I think for the production capacity ramp up, everyone understands this will need some time, and there's a process, especially when it comes to new product production ramp up. At the beginning, it will start at a relatively low volume, and then it can accelerate to a stable level. We have already made sufficient preparations for the mass production of the ET5. And we believe the ET5 will have the opportunity to surpass 10,000 units in 1 month. If we look at December, of course, our internal target for ET5 should be higher than this. On November and December, we believe we are going to break the delivery record month over month. Especially, we are going to see the peak at December. Previously, I have also mentioned in October, the supply chain bottleneck will be resolved for the ES7 and the ET7. And around that time, we will also ramp up the production of the ET5. So it means that we're going to see the delivery volume to gradually ramp up. But at this moment, we cannot predict with certainty because there are many factors outside of our control. But in the past few years, we have experienced many challenges and extreme situations. In the past, we have accumulated lots of experiences. So our team knows how to handle those challenges and ramp up our productions amid those challenges. We believe in the fourth quarter, of course, we're going to experience many pressure in terms of the supply chain and the production, but we're confident to make sure we can meet the target we set for ourselves.
谢谢李总啊，我还追问一个小问题啊，就是我想追问一个小问题，就是如果12月是1万台的话，那因为2天之后就锁单了嘛，那可不可以就是说我现在订车的话，我基本上明年6月份才能拿到车，这个你可以再评论一下吗？谢谢。So my question is, if the production capacity can reach 10,000 units a month, yeah, okay. 您说吧，李总。
He's annoyingly been really.
Yeah. 我们因为锁单，因为有订单的用户，他有各种各样的情况，他有一个锁单的节奏，所以锁单的话，确实是决定这个最后到底什么时候交付。但 anyway， 如果你想早提车的话，就早锁单，这肯定是有好处的。
Of course, for the reservation orders, there are some fluctuations and uncertainties, but for the production order confirmation, this is the starting point for us to make the arrangements of the actual production of ET5. If you would like to get your ET5 earlier, then of course you should place your orders as soon as possible.
好，谢谢。我今天晚上下一个单。看看2年之后什么时候可以取到车。好，谢谢李总。
谢谢。
Okay, thanks everybody for tuning in. This
The
is
next
where we
question
are
comes from
listening
Edison
to
Yu
the
from Deutsche
live
Bank.
stream
Please go ahead.
of NIO earnings, where the analysts try to
Thanks for
grill
taking the
Li Bin
question.
and find out every
First one,
internal
we
company
noticed
detail.
that William visited the U.S. last month, and we're wondering what kind of what kind of decisions or perhaps considerations were taken while he was there, perhaps earlier entry into the U.S. And then the second question is, the original plan was to introduce a solid hybrid battery pack, I believe, in the fourth quarter. Is there any updates to this? Is it still on track?
我很快翻译一下，就是第一个问题是我们看到William 上个月去了美国，就
That must be Deutsche Bank analyst
可以分享一下就是这
Edison Yu.
个 visit 有什么
You
新的
can
消息吗？
ask this question in
还有第二个
English.
问题是本来未来想就是交付一个新的电池在第四季度，这有没有什么 update？ 谢谢。
好，谢谢 Edison。对，那个我们大家也知道，NIO从一开始就是一个 global startup。我们在这个2015年我们就设立了圣何塞的硅谷的研发中心。那我们这个因为疫情的原因，好几年这个没到这个美国的办公室了。我们这边还有几百名的同事，所以这个确实是。这个在这段时间在这个美国，然后去欧洲的话，我们要去这个去见见我们的同事啊，了解一下我们同事的工作的情况。当然，美国的市场的准备，我们是。
Edison Yu is really the first analyst who's not asking those simple questions. That's good to hear. I mean, there's many more things that would be interesting to ask. Yeah, a little bit disappointing here that the analysts are, just trying to get the exact numbers of deliveries and orders. I mean, there's no way that Li Bin will disclose it exactly. I mean, why should he do that? He's having no incentive of doing so. Let's see what he's talking about the US entry. I don't think that they will announce something early there. And about the hybrid battery, which I think should be on time in low numbers by the end of the year. Let's see.
中国、欧洲也有比较大的一个区别。那我们当然要准备所以我们在这件事情上，我们是长期的思考啊，周密的准备啊，保持耐心啊。但是毫无疑问肯定是离这个越来越近。
These NIO earnings calls are going very long all the time. They really go till the last minute before market open. Let's see. But better than at the night. I really like that.
Thanks, Edison, for your question. NIO is a global startup from day one. Actually, we set up the San Jose R&D Center back in 2015. Because of the COVID-19 situation, I haven't been able to visit our colleagues in the US for several years. We actually have hundreds of colleagues here based in the US, and we also have colleagues based in Europe. So this time I would like to visit our colleagues here in the US, and then I will also go to Europe to visit our colleagues over there. For the US market entry, we have been making preparations for a long time. We have been thinking about the US market entry strategy back in 2017, and this has been in planning for almost 5 years already. We have been thinking about what kind of a product should be the best product for the US market, what kind of user experience we should provide, and what should be the right business model for the US market. We believe right now we have a much clearer plan regarding the US market entry, and we have been making comprehensive preparations based on our plan and the strategy for the US market. US market is quite different from the China market and also the European market. The US market is very competitive, and the regulatory environment is also quite different from China and Europe. We have been making long-term thinking and preparations about the US market entry, and we believe that the right strategy for us is to make comprehensive preparations and be patient. Of course, there isn't much details that we can disclose at this moment, but we believe we have a clear strategy for the US market entry, and we just need to be patient for the execution.
Like expected, he doesn't say much here about the US. I think the US isn't the most exciting market, to be honest, from an EV company perspective, because it's not a large EV market yet, although it's growing as well. And of course, they want to go to the US. But as a Chinese company, it's not so easy these days with the geopolitics. China is a very big market. Europe, a good big market, and a little bit easier as a Chinese company right now as well. But of course, Li Bin, he's visited the US recently, watching the team. We've seen the pictures, the leaks. They are looking to build a NIO house. But yeah, I expect not too much pressure on the US market. It's better for us Europeans. We get to drive those cars first. And now let's see what he's talking about the battery.
For the 150 kilowatt hour semi-solid state battery pack, this battery pack offers a very high power density, and we are making comprehensive evaluations of this semi-solid battery pack. We are making preparations for the production of this battery pack together with our partners. But according to our current evaluation, we believe probably we're not going to provide this service to our users in the fourth quarter. And according to the current evaluation, this battery pack will be delayed for several months. Of course, we have been working with our partners to evaluate the progress, and this is the current situation, and we will try to work with our partners to improve the situation.
Thank you.
All right, that's news, and it's not good news. The delay on the hybrid solid state battery pack that NIO is developing with WeLion. I know that they're building the line, and there is a production starting. Whoa, that was loud. But seems it's not gonna go to market in Q4 like planned. Let's hope there will not be more delay in the future. I think it's not super important. This battery pack is coming to the market quickly, but the delay, of course, is, you know, between expectations and reality, it's not a good sign, to be honest. So yeah, let's see how this will continue. And also, let's hope there's not similar delays, for example, with what is supposed to launch also in Q4, the NAD software update for the subscription, enabling like the new compute power of the NVIDIA chips, the LiDAR system, so the Atom computer, and gradually improving the self-driving or autopilot functionalities of the latest platform. And yes, that's the 150 kilowatt hour pack that has up to 1,000 kilometers of theoretical range and some other additional benefits in terms of, you know, what hybrid solid states brings to the market.
That has been placed by certain people who is not really intending to get the vehicle, but just to jump the queue and try to sell the order to someone else for profit, which might inflate the order and give some misleading information for your production plan. And how do you prepare for that? My second question is regarding your secondary and tertiary brands preparation, Alpace and Firefly. We noticed that there are some orders has been entered with some suppliers, especially from the batteries and other components. Is there more color management can share compared to, let's say, two quarters ago?
谢谢 Paul。第一个问题，当这个确实，如果这个需求满足的慢的话呢，会有你刚才说的这种情况啊，就是可能会有一些订单会被。
Once again, thank you guys for dialing in and watching my live stream here. For those who are new, we're currently listening to the earnings call of NIO Management Q2 earnings. And right now, Li Bin is talking in Chinese in the background, answering the question of an analyst. And I will add my commentary around it and also listen to the English translation in a second.
买来准备就下定准备转让的这种情况，在我们整个订单里应该是这个比例，这种需求的这种比例应该是比较。
Lots of people are skeptical on autonomous driving. Tesla has a different way of doing that, approaching that than others.
For your question regarding the first question. Of course, if we cannot meet the user demand in a timely manner, then probably some users may transfer their orders to others. But we have a very strict policies regarding the order transfer. So we believe there will be very few cases for the order transfer, and the percentage of order transfer will be quite low. This is probably also because of our follow-up mechanism. If you place a reservation order for now, then our fellow will follow up with you regarding the specific orders, and then this can be converted to the actual production orders. In our current order backlog, we believe that the percentage of users who are only placing the orders to make sure they can transfer the orders to others in the future to make a profit. This percentage should be quite low because of all those different mechanisms we have in place.
那第二个问题，当然我们的针对大众市场的品牌。
So I guess we are running almost out of time for this conference call. Might be the last question by an analyst and answer by Li Bin. Let's see.
按照我们的时间表在进行啊。那当然在这个大众市场品牌方面的话呢，我们因为它会用到我们最新的这个 NT3 的这个整个的智能平台，所以它会跟着我们 NT3 的这个智能平台一起去。
I'm not sure if they will do that, but they have other ways with licenses and stuff like that to manage which cars may drive what kind of technology or not. I don't think it's LiDAR specific. Let's see. There's also something called V2X, so communication between vehicles and between vehicle and infrastructure. And this is where China wants to establish international standards as well. So this might be something which they're using in the area of autonomous driving in order to kind of protect their own companies. Got to be direct and honest about this here. That's kind of industry policy. Not sure whether or not LiDAR will be necessary for that. So Li Bin is still talking in Chinese, and then once again, this might be the last reply and response during this earnings call before market opens. I guess they have to finish the call before the bell rings. We'll see. I mean, Elon Musk is landing rockets without, so you gotta trust this guy in his tech capabilities. It's definitely a different approach, and it's more risky, and it's not sure if it can work or not. But it's all having benefits and also negative aspects. We'll see. Those companies will work it out, and I'm quite confident that NIO has some good prospects with that, also with their technology and the people like Ren Xiaoxing for the image recognition. And once again, today in this call, they said like they're gonna not be impacted by the NVIDIA issues. They're something which I mentioned in my videos also before. They possibly have already all the compute power. They said that they can as well. And in the future, just buy the Chinese chips.
For the mass market brand, previously we have already discussed about our plans for the mass market brand. Currently, the R&D progress is on track. Our plan for the mass market products is to follow the schedule and the cadence of our latest technology platform, that is the new technology platform 3.0. We're going to launch the mass market products based on the new technology platform 3.0. Yes, probably from the media and the supply chain, there have been some discussions about the third brand of NIO. Actually, in the past, we have recognized that if we want to accelerate the conversion from the ICE to EV, we will need to provide more products to cater to different users in different segments. And we believe in the past year, we have witnessed tremendous growth in terms of the EV demand at the entry-level market segment, which has also been driving the EV penetration here in the China market. We have realized that some interesting opportunities for the business model innovations, and I believe NIO is very good at combining the innovative technologies with the user experience and provide very innovative experience to our users. We have identified some opportunities for us to make innovative technologies and blend it together with our business models to provide services to the users and provide different kind of products to a wider range of user groups and communities. So at this moment, we cannot disclose much information about this, but what I can say is we do believe that there are some opportunities for us to explore.
好的，非常感谢 ，Thank you so much.
This concludes our question and answer session. I will now hand the call back to Ms. Eve Tong for closing remarks.
Thank you once again for joining us today.
All right, that's it. That was the earnings call by NIO for this quarter. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this later on, you're watching a recording of a live stream, but I'm glad that you tuned in. And as I've mentioned before, I've done a separate video going through the financials and telling you my views on that. This time, of course, in the earnings call, they also talked a bit more in the questions and the Q&A section with the analyst questions in detail. Not too many actually focusing on the gross margins, those questions. So I would have loved to hear even more explanation about that. It seems like the battery cost and the inflationary pressures and the lockdowns have been one of the key issues there. All in all, in the current phase where NIO is, they need to invest into the infrastructure, which makes them distinct against other EV companies. Oftentimes, battery swap stations, for example, are only seen as a cost factor there, but I think in the future, this will also provide tremendous benefit, even in terms as a revenue source. And we'll see like how long also the service packs will stay free. Tesla have been doing similar stuff like with free superchargers charging in the beginning. So the Chinese, they are not stupid and they are business savvy. They'll find how to make money on all of those things. So currently, yes, these are impacting the bottom line especially. So we've seen the top line, the revenues actually beating, staying straight. Now also even coming out of this hole, it seems Q3, Q4, we heard in this earnings call some positive and optimistic takes there. We'll see if they, ultimately become true. Always take those company comments with a grain of salt, pinch of salt. We have to be honest with ourselves that they did disappoint in some growth prospects in the last couple of months and quarters, actually also lower than my personal estimations. However, that doesn't change my personal views about the long-term prospects of this company. And it's also to be expected that a company like NIO right now needs to invest more into various things like R&D and such. And so I do believe those margins will recover. I do believe that the demand is there for ET7, ET5. I think those are fantastic products. Also the ES7, I think they can ramp them and squeeze those cash cows. So for a long time, the NT 2.0 platform will be very, very good and competitive in China. I got the same sense from NIO Management there. And what's next? Well, mass market brand and new models. I think it's too far out. It's too much to speculate about right now. That's not my key focus, but of course I will make videos about it in the future. So I hope you will like and subscribe to this channel. Also make sure to put the notification button, so the bell, so you will get to know every video that I will be publishing. Also, please consider to become a patron. You will find a link in the description of this video. Basically, this helps me to, not come up with lots of advertisement on those videos, and also keep this channel independent. But as always, it's not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. I'm personally owning NIO stock, and it's right now my second biggest position after Tesla. So if you want to find more bearish takes, possibly go somewhere else. Although I try to give you a neutral view as much as I can. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, let's do this again. And certainly we'll have more videos coming up on NIO and other Chinese names and stocks in the future as well, of course. See ya, and now let's watch the market open.